Hello friends, welcome back. Are you struggling with spelling words correctly in the English language? Friends, English can be a little tricky. Words such as knock and phone sound one way when we say them out loud, but they are spelled completely differently. In this video lesson, I'll be sharing with you some tips you can use to improve your spelling, and I'll teach you how to reduce your spelling mistakes. Friends, before we learn how you can reduce your spelling mistakes, it's important to understand why is spelling so important. Friends, as we know, writing is such a crucial part of English fluency, and in order to be able to write properly in English, you have to be using different words, different expressions, but you also have to be able to spell correctly in English. Friends, if you're applying to study at a university, if you're studying at a university at the moment, or if you're in high school and you're writing essays to be marked, so you're being graded, a part of your grade will be on spelling. If you're preparing for IELTS or TOEFL, you will be marked down due to spelling mistakes. If you're a business professional and if you're consistently writing emails and you're making spelling mistakes, or you may be writing some documents in English, people may not take you seriously. You may have some issues in communication at work. Spelling is such an important part of developing your writing and ultimately your English fluency. Remember friends, consistency is key. While I'm explaining these tips, try to understand, okay, when can I use this tip and how can I be consistent in my learning so that I can reduce my spelling mistakes? By you watching this video lesson, I'm assuming that you're already writing on a consistent basis. So you're probably writing essays, you're writing emails, you're probably writing texts or something in English. You've noticed that you do make a lot of spelling mistakes. In order to reduce those mistakes, I want you to understand, where are you writing in English? Are you writing on a piece of paper or are you writing on a computer? Let's begin by looking at you writing on a computer. Friends, a lot of my students use autocorrect, and they also use an application called Grammarly to correct their mistakes. Friends, these applications are great. So if you're using autocorrect on Microsoft Word, or if you're using Grammarly, you will see that they will automatically correct your mistakes. But you're still making those mistakes. If you truly want to improve your spelling skills, I suggest that you don't just automatically correct your mistakes. Friends, write down all those words on a piece of paper or in your notebook. Write them down so that you know in the future that you have problems spelling these words. Now, while you're looking at that notebook and you're looking at the words that you've misspelled, you may see that there's a common trend. There are certain words that you are consistently misspelling. Friends, there are many rules, common rules we have in the English language when it comes to spelling. There are many also exceptions and contradictions which you do need to take into account. Once you've identified your common mistakes by seeing them in Microsoft Word, or if you're seeing them in an email and you've written them down in a notebook, try to group the mistakes. Try to see the common mistakes that you're making and try to find the rules that apply to those spelling mistakes. Okay, so you understand, to improve your spelling, you have to be writing. If you're writing on a computer, don't use the autocorrect on autopilot. Think about it. Think about your spelling mistakes by writing them down on a piece of paper, in a notebook, in a journal, and try to learn the rules, contradictions, and exceptions when it comes to spelling in English. Now, another thing that you can do to really master those rules, exceptions, and contradictions is to make sentences with those words. So you have a notebook, you know the words which you consistently misspell, write them down. Write those words down, write them down 5 to 10 times, and then make sentences in written form in English with them. I know, friends, that it does sound a little repetitive, but by doing this, by constructing sentences with those words with a correct spelling, you're training your brain to think in English, and you will remember the correct spelling in the future. I cannot highlight enough the importance of writing consistently in English, especially to reduce your spelling mistakes. Friends, the more that you're writing in English, you'll notice the mistakes that you're making. You can identify those mistakes by writing them down in your notebook and then by practicing. Practicing by making sentences with those words so that you can reduce your spelling mistakes and improve your spelling. But maybe you're the type of learner that you don't write consistently. Maybe you write once or twice a week or maybe once a fortnight, but you really want to improve your spelling. Friends, what you can do to improve your spelling is dictation. Now, don't be scared of dictation. Dictation shouldn't be boring. You can do it in a fun way. Friends, you can combine improving your listening skills and your spelling skills at the same time by listening to something in English. Find something to listen to in English with a transcript and try to dictate. Write down on a piece of paper everything that you hear. A great resource that you could be using to improve your dictation skills and ultimately your spelling skills and also your ability to think faster in English is podcasts. Friends, if you don't know, I have a great podcast you can listen to, the Using English TP podcast. With each podcast episode, there is a full transcript. Podcasts are great. Many podcasts out there have listening materials. So you are listening to English being used and you have a transcript. Use this transcript to improve your spelling. Now, what you can do is listen to an audio. So listen to a natural conversation, listen to somebody ranting on in English and dictate. Write down on a piece of paper everything that person said. Now, I know that many podcast episodes, some go for 10 minutes, some go for an hour long. You don't need to be doing this for an hour or 2 hours. If you do this for 2 to 3 minutes every day, you will see improvements. What I want you to do is listen. Listen to the audio and press pause at 10 to 20 second intervals. Press pause and write down everything that you heard on a piece of paper. Write it down and then hit play again and do the same. So keep listening, listen at 10-second intervals, write down exactly everything that you heard and then press play again and do this for about 2 to 4 minutes every day. Now, I want you to use the transcript. Many podcasts have transcripts out there for you to use. Use the transcript to check your spelling, okay? So you've listened to an audio, you've listened to a podcast or to some conversation, and you've written down, you've dictated everything that you've heard. I want you to compare what you wrote down, the spelling that you used in comparison to that transcript. Friends, by doing this little activity, you will notice that, okay, you're struggling to first of all understand that word, but you're also struggling to spell that word correctly. By doing this consistently, you will be checking that you are spelling words correctly, and also you will be consistent. The more that you do this, you will notice some common mistakes. So some common words that you're consistently misspelling, you can put those words in your notebook. Remember that notebook at the beginning of this lesson. Put them there. You can construct words, sentences. So do a little extra practice spelling these words so that you can reduce your spelling mistakes. I would like to highlight that it's very important to be doing this consistently. When I say consistently, I don't mean for an hour or for 5 hours every single day. When I mean consistently, I mean about 2 to 3 minutes every day. If you're doing this for about 2 to 3 minutes every day, be that if you're writing something down on a piece of paper, you're identifying your spelling mistakes and you're writing them down in your notebook and then you're constructing sentences, or if you're listening to an audio, to a podcast, to the Using English TP podcast, and you're dictating, so you're writing down on a piece of paper everything that you heard, you're putting all those words that you misspelled in your notebook and you're constructing sentences with them, you will see that in a very fast time, in a very short period of time, your spelling will improve. You don't need to be doing this for hours and hours a day. Also, friends, you will pick up on the rules. You'll notice that those words that you're putting in your notebook, you'll notice the patterns and you'll be able to better identify these patterns when you're listening, when you're listening to these words being pronounced out loud, and you'll also notice these patterns when you're writing in English. There you have it, friends. Use these tips consistently so that you can score high, be that on your essay, so that you can perform better on your proficiency exam, so that you can sound smarter when you're writing emails, and you avoid spelling mistakes in written communication. Friends, I would love to hear from you. These tips I share on a regular basis in the Using English TP classroom, but maybe you have other tips you have used to improve your spelling and to improve your written English. Tell me in the comments below this video, what tips have you used to improve your spelling? If you love this video lesson, don't stop learning here. Continue learning with this playlist here to improve your English fluency. Continue learning with us in the Using English TP classroom to get structured support, guidance, and lessons to improve your spoken English. Watch this video lesson here to learn more about the Using English TP classroom. Thanks friends for being here, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you in the discussion in the comments below this video. Bye for now.